another quarter in English 5. Today you will know how to distinguish different types of informational or factual text using text structures and language feature. Our lesson for this week is about distinguishing text types. After going through this lesson, you are expected to distinguish text types according to purpose and features, classification, and explanation. Texts are written for a variety of purposes using different forms and standards of composition. These forms of writing are known as text types. What is text type? Text type is a way of classifying and defining different types of language interaction, both spoken and written. It refers to the purpose of a text and the way it is written. There are different text types. These are classification, explanation, enumeration, and time order. In this part of our lesson, our focus is to discuss the first two types of text, which are classification and explanation text types. Classification. Classification classifies, describes, and gives information about people, animals, and things or phenomena. Example: weather is the continuous changing condition of air around us. These changes can take many forms, including wind, rain, and snow. They influence how people live every day. When it rains or snows, many persons are often forced to stay indoors. Weather also affects one's choice of clothes. One wears light clothes when the weather is hot and thick, close-fitting clothes when it is cold. The next type is the explanation. Explanation is a factual text type that explains how or why something happened. It begins with a topic, describes items related to the topic in the right order, and explains how these items are related to each other. It may have a conclusion. This type is written in the present tense. Example: the building of gases in the Earth's atmosphere causes the greenhouse effect. With so many gases in the atmosphere, Earth becomes like a greenhouse because the heat from the surface cannot easily escape into the outer space. Because of the gases that block the heat from escaping to the outer space, there is global warming. Thus, the temperature of the Earth rises. Let us proceed to learning activities. Learning Task 1. Directions. Look at the picture below and answer the questions in your notebook. So take a look at this picture. Questions. Number 1. What do you think is the message of the picture? Okay, in this part of these questions, answers may vary. For me, it describes the sacrifices, hardships, and challenges of getting education due to COVID-19 pandemic. Number 2, how did you adjust in the considered new normal of schooling? answer, follow the class program given by the teachers, ask help from parents, siblings, and guardian if the lesson is hard to understand. Number 3. Based on your answer from the previous question, what is your purpose in writing it? Is it to classify, to explain, or to enumerate? Why? My answer is, the purpose of writing is to explain because I gave reasons how and why something happened. Learning Task 2. Directions. Read the text below and answer the following questions in your notebook. Energy and nutrients are transferred from organisms to organisms through their feeding relationships. Producers are green plants, algae, or microorganisms that are capable of making their own food. They make their own food by converting the energy from the sun into chemical energy. Producers provide energy and nutrients to other organisms. Consumers get their energy by feeding on plants and other organisms. Therefore, all animals are consumers. Organisms that eat only plants are herbivores. Living things that eat other animals are called carnivores. Some animals which eat both plants and animals are omnivores. Answer the questions. So I will give answer for number 1 as your guide. Number 1. What is the text about? Okay, the text is about the 2 types of organism. Now you answer the rest of the activity. Number 2. What are the 2 organisms stated from the text? Number 3. How is the producer and consumer classified or described in the paragraph? 4. What is the purpose of the writer in writing the text? And 5. The selection is an example of what text type? Okay. Learning Task 2, Letter B. Directions. To understand the text even more, go back to the selection above and fill out the chart below. List down the characteristics of each organism in your notebook. Okay, so we have 2 columns here, producer and consumer. I will give answer in number 1 as your guide. So for producer, it's a green plant, algae, or microorganism that are capable of making their own food. Consumer, it gets energy by feeding on plants and other organisms. Okay, it's your turn to answer the rest of the activity. Learning Task 3. Directions. Read the text below and answer the following questions in your notebook. Rice terraces of the Philippine Cordilleras, outstanding universal value. The rice terraces of the Philippines Cordilleras are outstanding example of a developed living cultural landscape. They can be traced as far back as 2 millennia ago in the pre-colonial Philippines. They are found in the remote areas of the Philippine Cordillera Mountain range on the northern island of Luzon, Philippine archipelago. These historic terraces cover an extensive area. The property consists of 5 clusters of the most intact and impressive terraces located in 4 municipalities. They are all the products of Ifugao ethnic group, a minority community that has lived on these mountains for thousands of years. The Ifugao rice terraces are ideal example of a living cultural landscape of beauty beyond compare. The Ifugao rice terraces are variable contributions of our ancestors to mankind. They were built 2,000 years ago and passed on through generations, an example of ancient civilization that overcame challenges passed by modernization. Built on steeper slopes of high mountains and the careful curving of the natural shapes of the hills, the Ifugao rice terraces have complex irrigation systems. Water comes from the forest of the mountain tops. The maintenance of the living rice terraces shows that the whole community work as one. It is based on the knowledge of the rich variety of biological resources which exist in the Ifugao agri-ecosystem. Questions. Number 1. What makes the rice terraces extraordinary? So as your bonus, this is the answer. It has steeper slopes of high mountains and the careful curving of the natural shapes of the hills and complex irrigation systems. Answer the rest of the activity. Number 2, why do you think the Ifugao built the rice terraces? 3, how do the rice terraces reflect the culture of the Ifugao? 4, why do you think the article is entitled Outstanding Universal Value? 5, what is the purpose of the author in writing the selection? Moving on to our next activity. Learning Task 4. Directions. Identify the dialogue of each character below, whether it is a classification text type or explanation text type. Write your answers in your notebook. James, the president of the student council, called an online meeting. Number 1. James. Good day, my fellow student council members. I would like to tell you about the project Reach Out, which we will implement this school year. This project aims to reach out grade 5 learners who do not have gadgets or internet connectivity. Through this, we can guide them whenever they have difficulties in answering the modules or even increase their reading speed. So let's give the answer in number 1. The answer is correct. Explanation text type. Okay, proceed to number 2 to 5 and answer the activity. Number 2, Agnes. That's very helpful. I know some learners who we can help through this project. With our joint effort, we can reach those students who are not guided by their parents, especially when they are working. This project can also help our school in putting awareness to the community in which they can also help. But how do we do that? Number 3, Lani. We can divide our active volunteers into 2. Jess, Aliyah, and Nika can be the first group, while Bon, Raisa, and Kit will be in the second group. Group A will provide assistance in the areas near the school, while Group B will guide those learners who are outside the barangay but are enrolled in our school. Okay, give your answer. Number 4, Krisha. We can also take part in this project together with the teachers. We can provide reading materials such as novels like Harry Potter, Percy Jackson, The Pyramid, which are for kids. There are short stories like The Ant and the Grasshopper, The Hare and the Tortoise, and The Three Little Pigs. Okay, give your answer. Number 5, Annie. That would be fantastic. I hope that this project can prosper so that we can also reach the barangay officials. They might offer us more help if we do it right, and there might be more volunteers. We can also ask help from volunteers through social media. I'm so excited! Okay, give your answer. Okay, next. Learning Task 5. Directions. Sort the following titles of the text below according to each type. Write the title under the correct heading in the table. Do this in your notebook. Okay, so these are the following titles. Letter to the principal about an accident. How did the volcano erupt? Do it yourself paper dolls. Types of aquatic animals. Kinds of natural resources. How to study for an exam. The 3 aspects of birds. The types of vascular plants. The life cycle of a butterfly, the causes and effect of plastic use. So we have 2 columns, classification text type and explanation text type. So let's give bonus. For classification text type, we have types of aquatic animals. For explanation text type, we have how did the volcano erupt? Okay, answer the rest of the activity. Okay, let's proceed to the last activity, the assessment. Directions. Read the following paragraphs, distinguish and write the type for each text. A for classification text types, and B, explanation text type. 1. Forests are very useful. They supply lumber, which is used for building houses, stones, offices, and other buildings. Some forest trees give materials for making pulp paper, wallboard, and furniture, rattan, gum, and firewood. Medicinal plants are also taken from forests. Okay, let's get the answer. The answer is correct. A. Classification text type. Okay, number 2. The amount of water on Earth remains constant, but its form is always changing from solid to liquid, from liquid to gas, and back again. It moves in a pattern called the water cycle. Heat from the sun causes water in oceans, lakes, and rivers to evaporate into vapor. Further vapor is given up by plants and animals. Okay, number 3. Animals are born in different ways. Some animals are egg-laying, while some are born alive. Animals which lay eggs to the environment are birds, snakes, frogs, turtles, lizards, and insects, while animals which undergo gestation are born alive. Cats, cows, dogs, and whales are animals which are born alive. Okay, give your answer. Class, how are you? Did you learn something new today? Wow, that's great! That's the end of our lesson. If you are new to this channel, please like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to notify you in my next video lessons. Thank you for watching.